remembered. I remembered my conversation with her. Hello, Okabe Rintaro. I'm Makase Kurisu. Nice to meet you. Wouldn't respond at all. Something felt slightly off about the way Kurisu moved on the screen. But it was really slight. I could get used to it soon. More importantly, the voice and the way she spoke were exactly like the real Kurisu. I almost cried. It's all I could do to stop from breaking down. Maho, it's not the middle of the night, is it? The camera on the PC switched from me to Maho. No, it isn't. Why? Wondering if the two of you were sleepy. About the fact that I didn't respond to her introduction? I was asleep until just a bit ago, but now I'm 100% awake. I see. You're as lazy as ever, huh? Don't be rude. Anyway, can I ask a question? Sure, what's up? What's your relationship to Okabe Rintaro here? He's a student who participated in the last ATF seminar. He seemed really interested in the research, so I brought him here. Mom decided not to tell Amadeus that I was a friend of Kurisu's before she died. Why, I wonder? Not want Amadeus to find out? Was I supposed to tell her myself? Huh. You must be pretty impressive if you're saying that. Kurisu on the screen turned to me and smiled. Calm down. So, Okabe, what's your major? Brain science, I assume? It's... Words got stuck in my throat. Said calm down. Well, this is just a program. Words, her appearance, even the conversation she's having with you right now, they're all artificial. Though I knew that, I still couldn't speak. No idea what to say. More than that, the words, nice to meet you, hit me harder than I thought they would. It wasn't the Kurisu I'd spent those 3 weeks with. Maho told me this ahead of time. I thought I understood it. Hearing it for myself hurt more than I imagined. Regretted not taking my anxiety meds. It was too late now. My heart rate soared and my breathing became irregular. My head was spinning and the corners of my vision were beginning to dim. At some point, my lips had gone totally numb. Is something wrong, Okabe? Sue sounded worried. That voice software must be really good if it could handle nuances like that. Major isn't brain science. He's very interested in our research. Is he? Dr. Leskinen likes him too. At some point, I plan to make him my assistant. What? It snapped up in surprise at Maho's bizarre statement. He? Maho's assistant? Go to Victor Contra University. Oh, you don't like the idea? Not whether I like it or not. Well, it was a joke anyway. Joke? Take it seriously? I did not. I'm going to tell her that I almost did. I see. If you study really hard, it might not be a joke after all. Even if it wasn't, I'd rather be Dr. Leskinen's assistant. Way of getting back at her. Harder to be his assistant than you might think. He's really a big kid. She spoke. She quietly came over next to me and tapped me on my arm a few times. I see, so that was it. Making a joke to try and calm me down. Sorry, thanks. What are you talking about? I didn't think subtlety was her thing. Maybe I was wrong. Maho? Excuse me? Kurisu beckoned to Maho from within the screen in a very human manner. What is it? Come a little closer, toward the speaker. Maho moved her ear close to the speaker. I was just thinking about how weird it was when... Huh? Maho suddenly turned bright red and shouted at the screen. Of course not! What are you talking about? You don't need to be so embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed, just stop being weird. You sure? I'm sure. What are you talking about? It's obvious that Kurisu had whispered something to Maho. What did she say? Maho glanced at me. For some reason, she blushed and turned away. Ah, I see. The way Maho was acting and what I knew about Kurisu, there was only one possibility. Goddamn mainstream women. Mainstream women. I gotta read these. How do I... Button time. I whispered a name I'd often teased Kurisu with, and suddenly felt a lot better. You must have said something stupid like, "You two make a good couple," or "You finally found a man, huh?" She looked at a boy and girl holding a friendly conversation, immediately assumed they were dating was just like the Kurisu I knew. Eesh, what a system. Didn't to be that true to her personality, did it? I chuckled. You think this Kurisu also browses at channel when Maho and the professor aren't looking too? Nah, knowing her, she's probably commenting. Kurisu once browsed at channel on the Future Gadget Laboratory's computer when she knew nobody else was around. Hey! Knock before you come in. Christina, what are you doing when you should be working? Hey, stay back! Hey, what's with that? Ah, this is terrible, right? Right? Rolf kinda laugh. Call me that. I knew it already. Indeed. I've known it for a long time. You reek of that Chandler. How rude. My perfume isn't that strong. Not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about your soul's power level. It's cute how you try to hide it, at Channeler Kurisu. Do not call me that. Your soul's power level, huh? Silly remarks seem to have a much deeper meaning now. The girl in front of me one day going to, as Dr. Leskinen had said, become a real artificial soul? That happens, what are we supposed to call a soul that still exists in this world after the body is gone? Dead or alive, but something in between. It wasn't science anymore. It was philosophy, or maybe religion. Enough messing around. Okabe didn't come here to waste his time with this stuff. But you're trying to change the subject makes me even more suspicious. I'm going to infect you with a virus. Just kidding, I won't bring it up again. Sue quickly bowed her head. A bit back when Kurisu was still alive, she had conversations like this with Maho every day. I'm sure Dr. Leskinen had a lot of fun watching them. It's actually kind of cute. Sorry about that. Okabe, wanna try talking to her? Oh, offered me the seat in front of the PC. His face was on the monitor right in front of me. Our eyes met, she smiled a little. Didn't know she reacted like this to people when she first met them. Being with Kurisu was about as badly as it possibly could have. Realized that her prickly attitude towards me could have been unusual for her. Ask me whatever you want. I'll answer anything I can. Yeah. And good, I was remembering every moment I'd ever spent with Kurisu. Of what to say. The words that came out of my mouth were, is it possible to create a time machine? what I once argued about Kurisu on another world line. In the end, I'd lost the argument completely. What? Time machine, you said. Where'd this come from? Just a test. I wanted to see if she was capable of thought experiments. Well, Kurisu? Let me see. My conclusion is that it's not possible. We don't know for sure that it's impossible, I guess. What? Wasn't what she said. I'll begin with my conclusion. The very idea of a time machine is idiotic. Kurisu has said in the Alpha World line. I remembered that well. The very idea of a time machine is idiotic. We heard our old debate and decided to repeat what Kurisu had said then. It's too early to assume that. Think so? It's true that scientists all around the world have proposed time travel theories. There are 11 major ones, countless minor ones, but none of them are anything more than hypotheses, and some of them directly contradict one another. Correct. For example, there's a cosmic string theory and the wormhole theory, where time travel is possible as a thought experiment, but who has a clue where you would go to get cosmic strings or exotic matter? In other words, it's not realistic. It was also something that Kurisu had told me in the Alpha World line. Kurisu on the screen was unmoved. Probably because scientists haven't discovered something important yet. Think it's possible to create a time machine? We don't know for sure that it's impossible. That's what I said, remember? Yeah, your opinion was slightly different. Is this because I was in the Beta World line? Or perhaps... Hey, yo. You know she's made from a copy of the original's memories, right? Of course. And, I can't think of a good example, but... Is it like identical twins? You can't tell them apart at birth, but as they grow, differences start to form, or something like that. We're still investigating that, but... The memories they build up are different. I think that of course they'd become something different from the original human. Professor agrees with me. Let's see... It was then that I heard the door on the other side of the partition slam shut. Professor? Loud sound of footsteps. I'd assume so. I definitely hear somebody stomping around outside. And after a heavy knock, the door to the booth flung open. Luntalho. Luntalho? The professor opened his arms wide as he came inside. He grabbed my hand and began to wave it around. I hadn't realized he was this friendly. I seemed to think he was giving me a handshake, but it felt like I was being worked over by a pro wrestler. Hey boy, what's up? I'm fine, thanks. And you? Okabe, your English is terrible. Shut up, Christina. Christina? No, I was so focused on the professor that I used my old nickname for her. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. I am worried about it. Why am I Christina? I told you, it's nothing. Freaking out a lot over nothing. I said shut up, Kurisu. Kurisu and Mahoko seemed lost in thought. Called her Christina, huh? 2? Just drop it. Any more questions about this? Since the professor was here, I decided to ask more about how Amadeus' memories worked. Professor, is it possible for Amadeus' memories to be externally modified? Professor wasn't listening to my question. He seemed to be frantically searching his pockets for something. To think of it, I didn't see that translator device on his ear. I've been looking for it, which meant odds were good. He didn't even hear my question. Modifying my memories. It's theoretically possible. So herself answered in the professor's place. For example, it'd be possible to make me think that my name is Christina. But memory data isn't like normal data. It's much more complex. I'm aware of no successful attempts to modify it. And even if the attempt succeeded, I would notice it and prepare myself. I keep logs in an area that only I can access. In other words, a secret diary. If there was a discrepancy between my current memories and my diary, there's a very high probability I'd become suspicious. What's more, my memories are backed up at regular intervals. Even if they were altered beyond the point where I could self-repair, I'd still be able to restore them. I would lose any memories that had formed between then and the last backup though. I see. Regardless of the topic of discussion, it felt strange. What Moha said before she allowed it, Kurisu, was true. I was starting to feel like I was chatting with the real Kurisu. The way she wouldn't let you get a word in edgewise when she started talking about science was exactly like the real Kurisu. Interesting though. I turned towards Kurisu and spoke. Able to consider yourself objectively, as a machine. What I see in books and comics, I'd expect you to say, I'm not a machine, I'm human. That's pure nonsense. Even humans speak of themselves as a combination of hardware and software, right? They just call it biology and psychology. What's the difference? I see. Better with comebacks than anyone I know, isn't she? She heard this, Kurisu turned towards Maho. Her CGI is big and round, but was really just the camera sensor moving. You know, Maho, this may not be any of my business, but you should watch what you say. You finally got your chance. What if he stops liking you? What? Come on, don't bring that up again. But it's what I find most interesting right now. What I find most meaningless right now. What if this is the last chance you'll ever get? The one who needs to learn to watch what you say. Dr. Leskinen was clapping his hands together and laughing. I had to chuckle a little too. Afterward, the three of us, including the professor, talked to Kurisu, discussing technical subjects and making small talk. Next thing I knew, it had been almost an hour. I actually felt a little sad when Maho told me that it was time to stop. Just a single hour, the strangeness I'd felt about Amadeus had disappeared. I felt like I was really talking to Kurisu. Leskinen stopped me before I left. So, interested in being a tester? I tilted my head when I heard the professor speak, though, through the translator. Amadeus doesn't have a lot of conversation samples. I've got all kinds. I've got all the kids in my lab helping as much as they can, but it's not enough. Amadeus is still in research stage, and we can't just let anyone talk to it. So I want you, Lintalho, to help us, since you were her friend. I heard they'd mentioned something about being a tester at the party, so this is what they were talking about. The professor and I'll be staying in Japan for a while. We'd like you to be a tester while we're here. Your job will be just talking to Kurisu. There's no real quota, just talk to her when you feel like it. Twice a month, I want you to report on your testing to me and the professor. Oh, and I'm sorry, we can't pay you. I want you to keep that in mind when you decide. I'm aware that it's cruel to ask you to talk to an AI that's perfectly identical to your dead friend. If you're not interested, feel free to turn us down. Remember what it had felt like to talk to Kurisu. Monitor was just about to turn off. What Kurisu had said. Talk again sometime. Okabe Rintaro. I I'd hoped for when I came here, wasn't it? I'll do it. Please let me do it. Thought I was ready when I accepted the job. Never expected this. It was an incoming call on my smartphone. I trembled. There had been quite a few today. Kept ignoring them all. Felt like I couldn't keep ignoring them forever. I tapped connect, trying to act as normal as I could, so the others in front of me wouldn't notice. Hello? It's Makase. It was displayed on the screen. Yes. Amadeus. The app the professor had given me allowed me to access the servers at Victor Condrey University from anywhere, 24 hours a day. Of course he'd be able to contact Kurisu. Kurisu will also sometimes contact you. When that happens, talk to her. This I hadn't predicted. I thought she would call me. But her face would be displayed on the screen. Should I have introduced myself with, "It's Christina"? Looked really mad. Guess why? I'd gotten 8 calls from Kurisu and I ignored them all. Maho and Dr. Leskinen explained things, so I thought I'd call once myself to make a proper introduction, but I didn't expect he'd refuse to pick up 8 times. Be saying anything. For a realistic girl in my smartphone with so many people around, it's pretty embarrassing. Well, if you don't want to talk, that's fine, but with you, I'm pretty sure this was my chance to talk more than usual. I feel like an idiot. Just know that during the test period, I'm always connected with you. That took longer than expected. Sora! Welcome to the stream, Sora! It's been so long! You deserve all the things, Sora. How are you? You're just in time for Steins Gate 0. We're not done. There's a little bit of story. We have to get the true ultimate final mix version 2.0 ending. All upgrades included. Contact me whenever you feel like it. I'm busy, so I don't know if I'll always be able to answer your calls. I'm good. How about you? Ah, that's excellent. Excellent. I'm so glad that you're doing good. I'm doing good too. As you know, my family got super sick right before Christmas, in a little bit of the beginning of the year, but finally everyone is doing good. And I'm finally back to streaming. I think you missed 3 streams? 1, 2. You've only missed 4 streams of the new year. But you're not the only one. But super really glad you're here. How goes the studies and everything? It's a new year, a new you. I would like to hear all about it. Sorry, I was drinking some water. I need lots of hydration breaks when I read. Man, what is this? More than that strangely polite, friendly Kurisu from yesterday. Angry. Stubborn. Curious than anyone. The way she seemed to be constantly challenging you. Anyway, goodbye. This really was Makase Kurisu, the girl I'd spent those 3 weeks with. Lab member 004, my assistant, Christina, aka Makase Kurisu. Movements were a little more jerky than I'd seen on the computer in Dr. Leskinson's office, but evidently that was because of the smartphone. Alone was enough to make me feel like my heart was being squeezed dry. I stood still, holding the smartphone tight. Ocarine, what's wrong, yeah? Oh, I'm coming. I thought to myself as I ran to catch up with the others. Maybe Dr. Leskinen was right, and this test would be a very cruel thing for me. Even so, in my mind, I was already starting to think about what I would talk about with Kurisu. So let's see. Since you're here, Sora, I'll catch you up. One more hydration, courtesy of Nightbot. So, I think you were there at the finale of Steins Gate when I got the true ultimate Omega final happy ending, and there was a decision to be made. It seems like this particular story is the opposite. So if you remember the world lines, there was alpha and beta. So it's basically, in this universe or reality, Sora chooses to come to the stream today. In reality B, Sora chooses not to come to the stream today. So I'm thinking this entire story is just not saving Makase at the very end, which is what we did originally. So we're in a completely worse timeline with significantly worse outcomes. I suffer from anxiety every day. I miss the love of my life. There seems to be a new romantic interest, and apparently Kurisu's memories they've mined them to become an AI algorithm type dealio, and she lives on my phone. So yeah. Oh, and it's 6 months after the end of the first game visual novel. So everyone seems to be a little bit older. Everyone's kind of the same except for me. But it is very interesting. I'm hooked. So let us continue. Maho was remembering the last night she'd spoken to Kurisu in person. Seriously, why do I have to do this now, of all times? That night, Kurisu was whispering to herself a lot. Victor Kandre University's Brain Science Institute. Maho and Kurisu worked in the smart room at the lab. Thus, Maho was forced to hear Kurisu's angry mumblings, whether she wanted to or not. A little was fine, but she'd been acting like this all day. It was keeping Maho from concentrating. She finally snapped and turned away from the paper she was writing. Hey, Kurisu! English was the language most commonly used at Victor Kandre University. When the other staff and professors were around, she'd always use English, but when it was just her and Kurisu, Maho would often speak in Japanese. Would you stop it? What? Stop what? Kurisu stopped messing with her luggage and turned around. I'm so loud that I can't concentrate. I need to turn this paper in by tomorrow. Was I talking to myself? Want me to sue you for violating the local noise ordinance? Sorry. Kurisu apologized and started to scratch the back of her head. Maho decided to calm down by standing up and going to the shelf where the research notes were kept. There were several books she needed for her paper. They were all up on the top shelf. Must be someone's idea of a prank, she said, as she stared up at a heavy book. She decided to try and reach for it, but no matter how she stood on her toes, she came nowhere close. Her tiny little arms seemed to take her like dead branches waving in the wind. She bit her lip. After she skipped grades to go to college and then came to work at this lab, she had more chances than ever before to hate her small stature. Whenever she walked outside after dark, the cops would stop her. Even with her ID, she couldn't get into bars. And buying medicine and alcohol at drugstores was a pain. The most humiliating part was that no matter where she went, everyone thought she was in middle school. Nobody believed her when she said she was 20. Everything in America was just too big. Aw. Should I get that for you? Kurisu noticed the trouble Maho was having and came over. Maho was stubborn, decided to pretend nothing was wrong. Fine, I'm not having any problems. Sure you are. Am not. You're sure? I'm sure. There's a book on this shelf I want too, so... Kurisu easily reached up to the high shelf and grabbed the book Maho wanted. Must be nice to be tall. No, I'm not really that... Oh. Kurisu covered her mouth when she realized she'd said something she shouldn't have. Thanks. It was a big help. If you need something in Japan, tell me. I'll send it. I will. Thank you. Kurisu handed over the book as she spoke. Then suddenly, her eyes went wide and began to sparkle. Hey, Maho. About what were we just talking about? What were we just talking about? Talking to yourself. Huh? Oh. Looked like Kurisu had come up with a new idea. It was a regular occurrence for Kurisu. Maho was used to it. Wouldn't that be proof of a self? For Amadeus. Yes. Yeah, she started talking to herself. I'd be pretty surprised. No matter how advanced an AI was, it wouldn't talk to itself unless you programmed it to do that. There was no need, or even a point, to a feature like that. If an AI started talking to itself, it might be a good indication that there was a self to talk to. Maho hesitated to agree with her. So watch what you say here. Forget that there are a lot of people who think that a soul is something God gives to humanity. That's right, isn't it? Kurisu's expression dimmed. Kurisu and Maho were both treated as heretics in the lab, especially since they were Japanese and women. Kurisu was simply too talented. Nobody ever actually did anything, but a lot of the older scientists were definitely avoiding her. Leskinen was the chief scientist. The fact that he liked the two of them well was all that led them to do the research in peace. The other scientists heard what Kurisu had just said. Who knows what they'd do? Maho patted Kurisu on the shoulder. Well, go have a good time in Japan. Refresh yourself. I'm still not happy about that. Why? I think you'll have fun. Doing an exchange should be to a graduate school. Why high school? It has to be high school, right? By Japanese standards, you should still be in high school. Just accept that the professor is doing something nice for you. Maho remembered what Dr. Leskinen had said. Kurisu had a fragile personality. All the bickering in the lab is putting her under a lot of stress. She's at her limit. It might ruin her as a researcher. That's what the professor had said. He was really worried about her. And you have to go to Japan in July anyway, right? So it's perfect timing. Yeah, I'm actually kind of down about that too. The Akihabara Techno Forum. Is that it? I'm not used to giving lectures. I don't know what to do. Now that you're published in science, expect a lot more of this. You need to practice. Rather not. Kurusu whispered to herself. Maho didn't like being around lots of other people either, so she knew how Kurusu felt. There were a lot of scientists who wanted to be published in a major journal and go on to give public lectures. She'd beaten out many of them to win that honor. People were jealous. She needed to fulfill her responsibilities, even if just to shut them up. Maybe I'm not that much better, though. Maho silently laughed a little, hated herself for doing it. Maybe I'm just as jealous as they are. That feeling which was a little like fear, something that she always felt. The girl in front of her was just that different from Maho. Someone she could never reach, no matter how hard she tried. Someone who surpassed everything she'd ever done, almost instantly. Maho? Kurusu was staring into her face, confused. Maho felt flustered. Are you meeting your dad in Japan? Heard that Kurusu's parents weren't divorced, but that they were separated. Her mom was still in America, her dad was in Japan. After Maho said it, she wondered if there was too personal of a question. Kurusu smiled a little. Actually, I got an invitation from him. Oh yeah? He's announcing a new theory this summer. I'm thinking of going to see the announcement. A new theory? Kurusu's smile changed into a small expression of consternation. I haven't heard the details yet. I know it's got something to do with the theory of relativity. Yeah? Maho felt like she was hiding something, but didn't question her anymore. Anyway, take care. I'll be expecting presents. What do you want? Since you're going to Akihabara, why not something rare? You know a lot about Akihabara, right? Huh? Why do you say that? I'm always reading those sites during breaks. What? Amadeus tell you that? He wouldn't do that. Sometimes I'm right behind you and you're so busy watching videos that you don't even notice. Ah, I can't believe you found out. Damn my carelessness. Kurusu actually seemed upset for once. It's really surprised Maho. Maho, please don't tell the others. I don't think it's really something you need to hide, but... The idea of sharing a secret with Kurusu made Maho happy. Got it. I won't tell anyone. Thanks so much. Kurusu seemed genuinely relieved. Maho continued. Hey! Once you get back from Japan, let's find out if Amadeus can talk to herself. Okay. Kurusu had a very happy look on her face. It was the face of a born scientist who loved to explore the unknown more than anything in the world. Her smile was as innocent as that of a child who just been given a new toy. It was very beautiful. As it was one of the reasons that Maho liked the younger researcher quite a bit. But the promise the two of them made would never be fulfilled. In fact, they would never even meet again. It felt like she was thinking about Kurusu more and more since she'd come to Japan. Maho didn't know if it was because she was in Japan or because she was talking with Amadeus, Kurusu more often. Maybe. Is it because she'd met the young man named Okabe Rentaro? Knows things about Kurusu that I don't, huh? Thinking back, the first day they'd met, she'd broken down and cried right in front of him. It was something she didn't really want to remember. She chased the memories away out of embarrassment. Queen of Okabe, weren't you? Snapped her head towards the PC monitor. Maha was in the middle of a conversation with Kurisu. Yeah, that's right. She shrugged her shoulders and tried to ignore Kurisu's mischievous smile. I think it's strange that Dr. Leskinen got such a high opinion of him. He handed over your access rights to a guy he'd only met twice. Is it really wise to trust him so much? He looked like a nice person. Yeah, I can't tell if he's got any ambitions or not. I feel like I don't really understand him. Do you like him? You cut it out! Maho brought her face close to the monitor and glared. Kurisu seemed unconcerned. There's no real need to hide it, is there? I can understand why you didn't want to say anything yesterday. He was right in front of you, but now it's just the two of us. Kurisu may not have looked like someone who would, but she really enjoyed this sort of gossip. Maybe girl talk was the right word. Maho sighed, sat back in her chair. The creaking sound echoed through the empty office. I really don't feel that way about him. I still don't even really know who he is. I see. Well, that makes sense. Kurisu let the matter drop. This bothered Maho a little. What does interest me? What is it? No, it's nothing. Maho had been spending a lot of time thinking about something since yesterday, to the point where she'd even been put off her research. What kind of relationship was there between Kurisu and Okabe? Kurisu feeling in the days before she died. She'd like to ask Okabe if she could. Maho, did my original and Okabe know each other? Maho shivered. It was as if Kurisu had been reading her mind. Could you tell? Came to that conclusion after listening to Okabe and hearing your response. It's all just circumstantial evidence, but do you want me to show my proof anyway? It's fine. Knowing you, the conclusion is perfect. The way they used words like proof in normal conversation showed that both Maho and Kurisu were scientists at heart. If he has memories of me that I don't possess, that's likely to cause problems with our conversations. I'll leave it up to you, how to deal with it. He may bring it up, possibly. If you want, you can ask him. Maho still didn't know if Okabe would even access Amadeus at all. They weren't forcing him to. Feigning ignorance is the same as lying, isn't it? I should be able to get some good data, though. I think. Yes, it was interesting. That was her opinion, as a researcher working on Amadeus. What would Taro Okabe feel about it? What would Okabe Rintaro feel about it? Would this be rubbing salt in the wounds in his heart? Maho realized she was getting much too sentimental. Maybe it's because I'm in Japan. It had been a week since she arrived. The first thing she planned to do was offer flowers. But she couldn't bring herself to visit the Akihabara radio building, the place where Kurisu had died. The sun was setting earlier now that December had arrived. Katsumi Nakase was surprised by how quickly it had gotten dark when she was out roaming through the cosplay shops. The wheeled suitcase on the ground next to her felt heavy. She'd done her best to jam everything she'd bought today inside. It was bursting at the seams. Still, spending a whole day shopping with her cosplay friends was a lot of fun. She felt tired, but it was a good tired. Her footsteps were light as she walked back to the station. Fukuki, you look like you're about to start skipping around, don't you? Oh, you can tell? So much more fun doing all that shopping today. I'm so satisfied with what we got. Mayushi had a lot of fun shopping too, thanks to Fubuki. Thanks for coming. I'll do anything for you, Mayushi. Fubuki tried to grab her friend. Shina Mayuri, for a hug. Yuri dodged out of the way. Mayuri may have looked like an airhead. She was actually quite athletic. Fuki, by the way, was Katsumi Nakase's cosplay name. Katsumi was in her second year of high school. She and Mayuri were the same age, but were total opposites. Katsumi was boyish and athletic. When she cosplayed as a male character, she attracted more female kamikos than male ones. Now we don't have to worry about winter komima, do we? Four friends had gone to cosplay shops along Yukagawaya, Maiden's Road, and Tokyo Hands Ikebukuro, then moved to Akihabara and visited several more. It was all part of their final preparations for winter komima. Sure, Miss Mayuri doing almost all the work. Push yourself too hard, okay, Mayuri? Kaede sounded a little worried. Her real name was Kaede Kurushima. She used her real name as her cosplay pseudonym. She was 3 years older than Katsumi and in college. Kaede was extremely feminine. Her measurements were just like the ones magazine models claimed to have, but she was very shy. People had tried many times to persuade her to enter the pageant at her college. She always refused, saying, "Normal events are kind of scary." But even so, cosplaying at Komima with the rest of them was something she looked forward to. So why don't we all help Mayuri and make the outfits together this time? Amiyuki proposed. She had very noble, elegant features, but the rest of her was easygoing and laid back. Though Katsumi was a fellow girl, she thought Amiyuki was beautiful. Even her light blue penetrating eyes lacked the arrogance that beautiful women usually possess. They were filled instead with a friendly light. Her real name was Yuki Amine. She was a senior at Meiji University and in the same club as Kaede. She was the oldest of the four. She once tried to give up cosplay and focus on job hunting. After just 6 months, she'd given up on work and gone back to costuming. Since then, she's been spending more time with Katsumi and the others. You don't have to help me. Everyone smiled at her. Mayuri quickly shook her head. You guys paid for more than half the cost of the supplies, right? That's enough to make Mayushi very happy. You're making our outfits, so we'd feel bad if we didn't pay. And you know, I've always wanted to make her really neat outfits like you do. Yep, Mayushi's outfits are always really high quality. I'm super grateful. You see, we really wanted to help Mayuri. Okay, let's all make them together. Katsumi knew that it made Mayuri really happy when someone praised her cosplay outfits. Oh, but there's actually a favor I wanted to ask you guys. Favor? You see, Mayuri told them about an event that had quickly become the mainstay of the Japanese holiday year. We're having a Christmas party, so Mayushi was hoping that Yuki and Kaede and Fubuki could all come. Christmas party, huh? Yeah, can you come? I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. It should have been, I wanna go, I wanna go, I wanna go. Katsumi's only plan for Christmas Eve was dinner with her family, so she raised her hand instantly. None of her friends at school wanted to do anything that night. She'd been a little put out about that since it meant they'd all had boyfriends. I can go too. Kaede also nodded, but Yuki seemed a little hesitant. I don't know if I should go. Huh? You have any plans? Of course, a girl as pretty as Yuki's gonna have a ton of guys asking her out for a Christmas date. What? That's not true. Really? Then I'll take you for myself. I'd rather go on a Christmas date with you than do anything else in the world, Fubuki. Ah, I love you, Yuki. I thought you only cared about Mayuri. I love Mayushi and I love you too. Katsumi quickly jumped over to Kaede and gave her a big hug. Kaede was soft, smelled good, and enduring this sort of sexual harassment was nothing new for her. Oh, and Yuki? Can you show Mayushi how to make a yummy quiche? Yuki was an excellent chef, and had been teaching Mayuri a lot lately. Both Katsumi and Kaede could have occasionally participate in what they called Yuki Amine's cooking lessons. Here, what kind of quiche? Mayushi thinks spinach and mushroom is good. Ham, tomato, and bacon is good too, you know. Oh, just thinking about it makes me drool. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay then, I'll teach you how to make both. Really? That's right, everyone would be happy if there were lots of different ones, right? Is this for the Christmas party? Yep. There's less than a month left, so I want to learn it in time. Then we'll have to train extra hard. When do you want to do it? Tomorrow? Yeah, Mayushi's okay with that. Natsumi went over her schedule in her head. Tomorrow, huh? I'm supposed to meet a friend. Got work. Natsumi really wanted to go, so she was pretty disappointed. She would have loved the chance to eat one of Yuki's good quiches. As she thought about the quiche, her stomach began to rumble. Mine too. It was about time for dinner. Yuki and Mayuri worked on the time and place for their meetup. The place I'm staying is a little far from here, so... How about the lab? Yeah, that's fine. I'll work hard and learn the recipe. I hope it's a fun party. Yep, Mayushi's gonna make Santa outfits. Will you all wear them? Wow, you're making even more outfits than the ones we need for Kamima? You're really excited about this. Mayushi's raring to go. Mayuri posed like she was cheering. You're making Santa outfits. I'd like one with a cute miniskirt, and then some white knee socks and red boots. Huh? They look good on you, Kaede. Do you think it would look good on me? Natsumi spoke to Mayuri and Yuki without any confidence in her voice. I know you like the cute outfits best. There was nothing Katsumi could say. She was right. It bothered Katsumi a lot that she looked like a boy. She knew that sort of clothing didn't look right on her. Still, at heart, she was a young girl. She wanted to wear cute clothes. Leave it to Mayushi. I'll make clothes that look great on you. Oh, that's my bride. Marry me. You're so silly, Fubuki. Don't talk like that. Daru does. Don't talk like Daru does. Getting compared to that perverted gentleman kinda hurts. By the way, you're going to wear the Santa outfit too, right, Mayuri? What? Don't what me? You're cute. You should cosplay more. But I just make the clothes. I don't wear them. Objection. That's a waste. Aw, not you too, Fubuki. What's more, I bet Okabe wants to see you in a cute cosplay outfit. Okarin? Mayuri made a weird noise as soon as she heard that name. Okarin, oh, Mayushi's boyfriend, right? Katsumi had met him many times. He was tall, but always looked pale and thin, and whenever he laughed, he seemed kinda sad. What Mayuri said, until just half a year ago, he'd been a totally different person. She said he was haughty and arrogant, but also kind, and a great leader. Mayuri was known to let her emotions influence her judgment, so Katsumi didn't know how much of that description was accurate. Whee! Mayuri started to freak out even more after hearing the word boyfriend. Fubuki, Okarin, and Mayushi aren't like that, okay? Aw, come on. King Kaede weren't buying it either. Honestly, Ocarina and Mayuri seemed more like an old wedded couple that had been together for years than boyfriend and girlfriend. It's true. Ocarina has somebody else he likes. What? Mayuri sounded totally unconcerned, which made Katsumi even more surprised. Is that true? Really? Yep. Who could have guessed? It was Yuki, the eldest, who spoke first. Sorry. Should we not have said anything? Nah, Mayushi and Ocarina are childhood friends and get along great, so it's okay. See. Mayuri's smile seemed very sad to Katsumi. She felt a sudden impulse to give her soulmate a hug. Anyway. Mayuri smiled, walked over to Yuki as if to blow away the awkwardness. So, what about you, Yuki? Huh? Me? Yep. So, are you spending Christmas with your boyfriend? I really don't have one. Really? You guys all have the wrong idea. I'm not that popular between you and me. I've never even had a boyfriend. What? First Mayuri, then Yuki. Katsumi was stunned. Is that true? I didn't think it'd be that much of a surprise. And Yuki, Mayuri started to fidget. How about Daru, maybe? Huh? Hashida? Yep! Wait, where's this coming from? Mayushi? Hashida's a perverted gentleman. Who knows what he'll do to you, Yuki? The man that Katsumi and Kaede were insulting was Itaru Hashida, a college student and member of Mayuri's club. He was a hardcore otaku, one of the hyper types, who said he enjoyed both 2- and 3-dimensional girls. And like Katsumi had said, he was a perverted gentleman. He would say perverse things all day without the slightest shame. Whenever you told him he was a pervert, he would say, "No, I'm a perverted gentleman." He was a dangerous guy. But Yuki didn't seem bothered. She actually looked a little sad. Hashida's a nice guy, but you know. I don't think he likes girls like me. What? Yuri was shocked far above and beyond her usual limit. She was so surprised she let go of her suitcase handles and let it fall to the ground. Instead of picking it up, she started talking frantically. That's not true. Daru is, he really likes you. I'm sure of it. Mayushi guarantees it. Remember how he acted when we met him at Summer Kamima? Yuki had met Mayuri 4 months ago at Summer Kamima. Katsumi and Kaede had come wearing outfits Mayuri made. Kaede found Yuki at the convention hall, all by herself, and they met up. Afterward, they'd all gone to a party where she'd met Mayuri's friend, Hashida Itaru. Katsumi had definitely witnessed Yuki and Itaru having a friendly conversation. Ever since then, Yuki and Mayuri and Daru had become friends. Yuki had started going to Mayuri's club, the Future Gadget Laboratory. In other words, Yuki and Itaru had been talking ever since Summer Kamima. But still, Yuki chuckled sadly and shook her head. No, I can tell. He's avoiding me. So, I'm thinking it's probably best if I don't go to the Christmas party. Aww. I think Hashida likes girls who are more like, a little sister. And a little sister who's really strong-willed, and who bosses her big brother around. Aww. Like maybe Susuha. That's... For some reason, Mayuri looked like she was about to cry. She seemed to want to say something but couldn't bring herself to. Her lips were quivering. Mayuri? It's nothing. But it certainly didn't look like nothing. Katsumi couldn't bear to watch her anymore, and so she gave in to the impulses. Mayushi, don't make that face. You look cutest when you smile. Come on, if you don't smile, I'll tickle you. Tickle, tickle, tickle! Stop! Natsumi snuck behind Mayuri and started to tickle her under her arms. You give up? Oh, Fubuki, you're so mean. You're too cute, Mayushi. Damn! Mayuri was laughing so hard she was crying, and this time Katsumi succeeded in giving her a hug. Even though they were public, she started rubbing her cheek against her. Interesting photo, moving on. Mayushi, I like you. I love you! Well, hey, Fubuki, I want to take you home and lick you forever! That'd be really bad. I don't care if it's bad. Marry me! I can't do that! Mayuri tried to run away, but Fubuki grabbed her and started to kiss her all over. I'm kinda tired. That's Mayushi's line. In the end, Katsumi kept clinging to Mayuri until they reached the station. She felt a lot better, but catching Mayuri when she tried to escape used up a lot of energy. Either way, now that she was satisfied. Reading Steiner. She shuddered and turned back towards Mayuri as an image came into her mind from out of nowhere. Hey, Mayushi. What is it? Cosplay together at Winter Kamima, okay? I told you before, right? For Winter Kamima, Mayushi's just going to make things. Fine. Just make sure you come to Winter Kamima with the three of us, okay? Of course. That's what we did all the shopping for, right? Yeah, but still, it's a promise, okay? Yeah, it's a promise. Yuri and Yuki split up with them in front of the station since they were taking a different train. Bye-bye. Good night, Mayuri, Yuki. Bye. Doo-ta-doo. Bye-bye. Seriousness. Katsumi stood there and watched the two of them until they were out of sight. She felt like she was about to cry and looked up to stop the tears from falling. Fubuki. Huh? Kaede was standing next to her looking worried. What's wrong? I'm sorry, it's nothing. Not nothing. There's something going on with Mayuri? Please tell me. Even after Kaede asked, Katsumi wasn't sure she could tell her. No way she'd believe it anyway. We're more hyper than usual today. It felt really forced. Noticed? Of course I did. Katsumi and Kaede had known each other for 2 years. Since their ages were so different, they treated each other like an older and younger sister. So, at times like this, Kaede was really sharp. Kaede didn't talk much, but that meant she paid a lot of attention to the people around her. Part of it was also that Katsumi wasn't good at hiding things. She just couldn't lie to Kaede, no matter what. She gave up and decided to say it. Mayushi. Yeah? He's going to die. What? What do you mean? Katsumi remembered the nightmares, the things she kept seeing no matter how much she didn't want to. I have these dreams. They started in summer, I think. Every night I have dreams about Mayushi dying. Each time you and I are there crying and crying, but there's nothing we can do. Huh. The one I had last night was the worst. Mayushi just collapses right in front of us. She stops moving. Okarin is screaming and holding her. He's screaming so loud. What happened to me? Why do I keep having these dreams? Calm down, Fubuki. It's probably just because you're tired. Is it? Is it really? I saw Mayuri today. She was fine, right? Kaede gave Katsumi a gentle shoulder hug. That's okay. I don't want Mayushi to die. It's impossible. It won't happen. Ever? Ever. Okay. Kaede's words made Katsumi calm down a little. Glad to have an older friend like this. Anyway, it's just her imagination. There's no way something that awful could happen. If only they knew. Her hand squeezed Katsumi's shoulder tightly. Being held like this made Katsumi feel a lot better. Sorry for being weird. But that night, she had the nightmares again. Uzuha Amane was about to run out of patience. The cause was the young man in the room with her, her father. Itaro Hashida, aka Daru. His massively obese body was leaning forward over a computer monitor, and he had a dopey grin on his face. He'd finally gotten up around 11 a.m., gulped down 3 cups of instant ramen, and now was surfing the internet. Daru. Perfect Daru.